Okay, so in this video, I would like to go over the rates question that I discussed earlier on and really made a mess of. So if we let's just read the question again to start with. So Beth and Mia translate some documents from Spanish into English. So that is actually a big hint for us. Beth and Mia working together. A set of documents that would take Beth 8 days would take Mia 10 days. Beth starts to translate the documents, and then after 2 days, Beth and Mia, so this is once again Beth and Mia working as a team, both work on translating the documents. How many more days will it take to complete the work? And we've got to show our working. So the reason I completely bungled this question earlier on, I'll put in red just to highlight that fact, was I was looking at two different rates, and that was wrong. I was doing two different rates for two different people. But look at the way the question's written. They keep talking about Beth and Mia. Beth and Mia. They're looking at them as a team. So we need to just look at the rate at which Beth and Mia working as a team would be able to translate documents. Now, when we are discussing rates, it is just the amount of productivity per unit time. It is the amount of stuff that gets done or stuff that gets made in a certain amount of time. And we can write that really easily, either as a fraction or as a ratio. And I think in this question, a ratio would be easier. So we basically want the amount of stuff that gets done to the amount of time that it takes to do it. And that is how we are going to express our rate. So we are given in the question, we're basically given this information, but in a little bit of a roundabout way. So let's think about it. So if we have, let's just put Beth here, put Maya here, and I'm going to draw what would probably be called a Gantt chart or a cascade diagram. Something like that, I think, maybe not. And basically what I've got 10 days in this block. And in the block, so, same amount of time for both people. Beth and Mia are starting at exactly the same time here. And I'm going to put in how much stuff they managed to do. Now, I know in that 10 days, Mia has only done one set of documents. So I can say one set. Now, in that 10 days, well, I know that in 8 days, so I've still got 2 days left at the end. So in 8 days, I know, so this is 8 days, I know that in 8 days, Beth has already got one full set. So for the remaining 2 days, well, she's not twiddling her thumbs. She's, I'm going to assume that she still works at the same pace because that's all the information we have. We don't say, oh, she takes a break after a certain. No, we don't have that. So in those 2 days, she's going to still work at the same pace. Now for Beth, I know that in 8 days, she does one set of documents. So in these 2 days, well, how many sets is she going to do? Well, I know that I have a ratio and I can just use my unitary method. If I want to go from 8 to 2, I divide by 4. So that means I have to divide the 1 on the right-hand side by 4. 1 divided by 4 is 0.25. So I know that Beth, in those 2 days, will do 0.25 sets. So let's tally up. Over the 10 days, so this is just one 10-day period now, Beth and Mia working as a team. 10 days, Mia's done one set, but Bethan has done one set plus the 0.25 sets on the end, on those extra 2 days. So she's done 1.25 sets. So we can now look at the rate at which Beth and Mia are working. So I can say Beth and Mia's rate of work or Beth and Mia's rate, and I can just say the amount of stuff is, well, 1.25 plus 1, so 2.25 documents or sets of documents. 2, so for every 2.25 sets of documents, that will take 10 days. So that is our rate of work for Beth and Mia. Now, the question says to us, after 2 days, Beth and Mia both work on translating the documents, but in those first 2 days, it's been Beth that has been translating. So I want to see, Well, basically, I need to see how long it will take Beth and Mia to complete the work. But how much of a document has been done in those 2 days? So I can say how much of a set has Beth got through. So I can see how long it will take to do the remainder. How much of a set has Beth done? Well, we've done that up here actually. In 2 days, so in those 2 days, Beth has done 0.25 sets, which is a quarter of a set. So how much has Beth got left to do? Well, how much is there left to do? So I can say, therefore, there are 3/4 left. There's still 3/4 of a document or 3/4 of a set that's got to be done. And all I need to do now is work out how long it will take Beth and Mia, because after the 2 days, they're both working together, how long will it take Beth and Mia to do 3/4? So I can say that is my final answer, and if I answer that, I've done the question. So how long does it take Beth and Mia to do 3/4 of a set? And to do that, we can just look at our ratio, our rate. So we know that in 10 days, 2.25 sets are going to be done. 2.25, it's much easier to write that as a fraction. So I can say 2 1/4 sets is going to be 10 days. Now we want basically 3/4 of a set. I want 3/4 sets, and I want to see how many days that will correspond to. Well, 2 1/4, as I said earlier on, whenever I have a mixed number, if I want to do a calculation, we've got to make it into an improper fraction. Now, 2 1/4 is going to be 9/4. And I know that because there are 8 quarters in 2, so that 2 is 8 quarters. And then we have 1/4 on the end, which means I have 9 quarters. So that means that 2 1/4 is just 9/4. So in 10 days, the two girls will do 9/4 sets, but I want to see how long it will take them to do 3/4 sets. So all I've got to do, well, if I have 9/4, to get to 3/4, we just need to divide by 3. Because obviously, 9/4. If I want 3/4, so imagine I've got a pizza which is cut into, and let's not imagine pizzas actually, because that would confuse things. But basically, if I have 9 pieces, if I want 3 pieces, I just divide by 3. So 9/4 divided by 3 is 3/4. So I've divided the left by 3, so I have to divide the right by 3. Now 10 divided by 3 is going to, I want to do 10 divided by 3. Right, 3 into 1 goes 0, remainder 1. 3 into 10 goes 3, with remainder 1. 3 into 10 goes 3, with remainder 1, and so on. So we end up with 3.3 recurring days, which is 3 1/3 days. Now, obviously, we want to see how many whole days it will take. So it will take 4 days in total. So that would be our final answer. So let's just very quickly summarize what we've done. We are looking for the rate. Basically, it's very simple. We want the rate at which Beth and Mia work. So we just say how much stuff can they do, or how many documents can they translate in a certain time. So I'm saying 10 days is my time, because that's what they've given us. And in 10 days, Mia does 1 set, Beth does 1.25. So in total, they do 2.25 sets in 10 days. And then all I have to do is write that as a fraction. So 2.25 is 9/4. And I can say that if I want 3/4 of a set, which is how much they will have left after Beth has done 2 days' work, I end up with 3 1/3 days. And obviously, I don't want to have 1/3 of a day, so it's going to work out to be 4 days.